Whatislife.blog is to connect the intricate moments of humanity, which thus exposes the beauty of us. We believe that all humans contain a story, and that alone is worth sharing.
All you could really do as an artist is just tell your experience how you see it. You kind of have certain expectations, especially when you use the terms like indigenous rapper, indigenous artist, native. There's some sort of like pressure, or it kind of has a notion in people's minds what that looks like. Like if you just said, hey, I'm a rapper, I do hip hop, like some will be like, that's cool. And then there's some where they just kind of give you that look like, what's he talking about?
Collection of thoughts, good, bad, happy and sad. Oh, what a funny game we play called life. Say something, I'ma do something. Say something, I'ma do something. Say something, I'ma do something.
Welcome back to Whatislife.blog. I'm your host, Charles Horace, and today's guest is RK Warriors, aka Dylan. All right, Dylan, how are you, man?
I am doing pretty good. Pretty good today.
Let's just start right to it. Who are you?
Yes. So, as you introduced, I'm Dylan from RK Warriors, full name Dylan Phoebus. Some people call me, the stage name is kind of Rebel. So sometimes you may refer me as that, but I have no like, it's one way or the other way. So it's kind of just like, I'm Dylan from RK Warriors, but I started this group / band about 2020 during the pandemic. Since you're like stuck at home during lockdown, there's really no way to like call people, book shows, or any interaction. So it just kind of just started as like more of a pandemic project, really.
Okay, so then over the years, it just kind of went to a full-on production? Is that?
Yes. So over time, it kind of just progressed into what it is now. So early on, it was just like, let me find a beat off YouTube. Let me just do certain things with that. What kind of software would I need? So I kind of just started everything basically on an iPhone through GarageBand.
Wow.
And then I was just like, cheap Amazon mic. Then I found like adapters, way to do it. And then I would just record in the closet.
Is it like a walk-in closet or just
like your traditional small closet. So you would just either stick your head in or kind of just like angle yourself.
Yeah. Okay. And now I'm assuming that's for like soundproofing it, or?
To my best abilities. Like those early recordings are probably not the best compared to what I do now. But it's fun to look back through those years, though.
You're from Gallup area, right?
Yes, born and raised.
Born and raised in Gallup. All right. So how does that look like? What does that look like being from Gallup? Starting this venture into music.
Just like starting out, it's a small town, so everyone kind of just has their own story, especially if you're from here. It's kind of just like different areas, different types of situations.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much just moved around a lot, especially in Gallup. I didn't really get into music till like early on. Like I've always had some sort of interest, but wasn't not like I'm gonna do this thing. It was more of just like something I enjoyed. I've just always been in a part of a house where it was just like music was always playing.
How big of a household would you say?
At the time, it was just me and my brother. So my older brother at the time, and then my parents. And then down the road, I have younger siblings, but that was definitely not the case growing up. It was just me and my brother at the time.
All right. And does your brother do music stuff too, or no?
Yes, actually. He does his own form of music. His is more instrumental work. So he goes into more experimental with synthesizers. He's more into like the gear side of it, more into the instruments.
Is that where you guys kind of collaborate and make music together, or you guys kind of keep yourself separate?
Sometimes, especially when he used to live in this area. Fortunately, he moved on the other side of the country. He's in Oregon at the moment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he's up there doing his thing. But at that time, we really didn't have any sort of collaboration till probably like around 2023. I was just like, I booked my first live show, and then he was really into gear at the time, so it kind of just worked out. So he was like, I could do you guys' like live show, the live set. He's all so that's how we were able to work together and collaborate. He was able to help me with like live shows, what type of like broadcasting, mixing it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I would say that because of my brother and my family, that's probably the reason why I got into music in the first place.
You talked about your first show. Where was that at? What was that like?
In Twin Lakes. It was just like on a trailer, rodeo grounds, basically. It went good compared to most shows. Like, I think if you do anything in this field, you always remember your first show.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, I have a distinct memory what that was like and what that process was like. I was able to find that footage and then put it on our YouTube channel. So it'll say like first live show 2023.
Were you like the only band there, or like was like multiple bands just coming together?
It was mostly just focused around like hip hop artists at that certain lineup. So it was just like a bunch of artists like back to back to back.
Yeah, yeah.
Memory serves right. It was like Saturday was like mostly hip hop night. And then I think the night before was like comedy night. And then the next night was, I think, country night. So it was kind of just like all these types of different art forms combined.
You know, I was listening to some of your songs, especially the ones that you posted onto Instagram. You do kind of have that hip hop vibe, you know, hip hop vibe / a little bit of rap, you know. What was your inspiration for all of those, for the music that you make?
Inspiration, I think it just varies like on all types of different genres, really. My earliest memory was just like with different sounds is like my mom would always play her music around the house, and it was just a lot of like 80s hits, ballads, synthesizers, stuff like that. So I kind of just always gravitated towards that type of sound. Like once I got older, probably like 12, that's when I really started getting into music. But it was mostly like guided by my older brother at the time. So it was just like whatever he was listening to, I was wanting to listen to it. That's music. I got to listen to what he has. Experimental stuff, indie stuff. Like I think the earliest album that he really got into was Foster the People's Torches. That was like the first real album, and then somehow I got a hold of it, and then I just was like hooked immediately.
Wow.
Through that. And then, you know, growing up especially, I kind of always gravitated towards like your 80s hair metal, big hair type of. The first real band I really got into at the time was Europe. So that for one of their albums, I was just hooked immediately. And then through that, you find your other bands like your Motley Crue. Definitely Queen was a big inspiration through all that. But it's hard to say like, oh, this one thing inspired me, and then you go and listen to my music, you're like, that sounds nothing like that. So I would say it's mostly just like a combination of things.
Yeah, yeah. But you're mostly gravitated towards 80s heavy metal, right?
Anything in that field early on. And then, you know, especially when you start growing up, you start trying different genres and stuff like that. And then that's when I found like hip hop, and then hip hop, there's so many categories.
Yeah. How many shows have you done so far?
I say at least close to 10 at this moment.
Wow, 10.
Yeah. But in those 10, it's a lot of like open mics, especially in this area town, especially right after that first show down at the Juggernaut Music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they closed recently.
I think so. They've been closing. I've been opening and closing, opening and closing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like one of those things, but it was very helpful, especially just like constantly going up there, practicing.
What would you say is your best one so far?
When we performed at the NAU, so Northern Arizona University out in Flagstaff, but it was where they had their ice rink. So they commissioned it. And then, so I was on there for other artists, and then it was like mix of like skateboarding night. And then it was like focused around like the Indigenous Center and stuff like that.
Was that school operated?
Yeah. It was all through the school and the local school radio station. So they kind of all threw it together.
Wow. So you mostly had all like college students, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It was like college, non-college. It was just like, it was like all over the place musically.
Wow. Okay. That's exciting. I'm an alumni of NAU. So so I went there. When you're making your music, how do you determine, I guess, the beats? How do you determine the lyrics? How do you determine that? Where does that come from?
When it comes to production, really, I try not to go in with like, I need to make a song about this idea, or like, I'm feeling this way. Let me make a song that caters that. I would kind of just like go in there and just like, in a sense, like mess around. And then once I kind of get a vibe for that beat or production, then it kind of just like, where can I go directionally? Then based off that feeling, like what can I put into words into that feeling to kind of, it's kind of like I'm navigating in a sense. And then once you get to that point where it's navigating, then it kind of just falls into place, really.
That's always interesting because I'm not a musician. I'm not a writer. I mean, I'm a writer, but not like a lyrical writer. So I'm always trying to figure out, I'm trying to understand the mind of a writer and how do they navigate the lyrics? How do they navigate overall completion of a song?
Oh, yes, definitely. Like I said, I'm not musically inclined. If you said, hey, play this chord, I'll be like, I have no clue. So basically, I would say I probably play by ear and like just feeling really in a sense. Like
interesting. Okay.
production software I use Logic. So it's very simple. I
Mhm.
like it simple. I try not to complicate it too much because there's some productions where it's just like so complicated. I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
Do you see yourself adapting to those more complicated systems as you progress?
Yeah, I would like to. It's kind of just like as it comes, really,
Hmm.
because there's moments where I look back of where I originally started to compare where I'm at now. I'm like, okay, I didn't think I was able to get to that point from when I started on. The more you do it, you kind of just progress without knowing it. That's
Total,
just my
yeah.
experience.
Totally, totally. Yeah. I look at that from my own perspective as I'm beginning this journey, this venture into podcasting, as well as my own business that I'm kind of building off of this with this podcast, Whatislife.blog. Start off as a website, kind of transition into a blog form, and then from there transition into a podcast.
Okay.
And then now I'm kind of like devising a plan to orchestrate that to make into a profit. So
Oh, okay. I see
so
you.
it's a step-by-step process. So I totally understand where you're coming from. You learn along the way, you know. I guess from that point of view, what are some of the setbacks?
Sometimes it just could be straight down to mental health, really, some of those setbacks
Hmm.
where you could just be giving so much to something and then for some reason you're not seeing the results at the time.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
that could be very just like discouraging. And you're just like, I feel like that could be, if you're not careful, that can make you spiral in a sense to where you're just like, I can't do anything at the moment.
Mental health is a very interesting topic. It's a very good topic.
Yeah.
If I could ask, what are some of your methods to help with that?
When it comes to writing or just feeling like I can't meet this expectation or idea to a certain song,
Mhm.
or just in life in general, like it could be hard in times where you just like you just don't know where to go, where it just feels like heavy and you're just like, I don't know what to do. So what I do to try to mitigate that is just try to like what are things that are bothering me in that day? Like
Mm.
what is it that's something that's giving me some sort of form of anxiety? What am I dreading or what is something to come that I'm just like it's not working for me? So I try to like mitigate it, but I'm just like I try not to be so hard on myself.
Mhm.
I'm more of just like let's just take a step back. Let's just try to see, let's focus on one thing at a time. Try not to overwhelm myself. Cause there's times where I'm just like, there's so much on my plate, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Where I'm just like, I can't get out of bed.
I like that. I
Definitely.
like that. It's the concept of breaking it down into smaller sections and just focusing on what is important, right?
Yeah.
I remember I was also a student at ASU for a bit too. I was part of this organization that then they had this guest speaker. He gave this question, how do you eat an elephant? And he let us, ponder about that, like what's the best way to eat an elephant?
Hmm.
And then finally he gave the answer saying the best way to eat an elephant is with one bite at a time. Basically, when you have something like like a large task or a large objective, that's something that it just feels too large to accomplish. You break it down, take it one bite at a time, take it one step at a time. From your own perspective, like, okay, maybe it's not as big, maybe it's not as difficult. We just take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
We're not going to finish it probably in a day, but just one step at a time.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there. So I like that. I like your mindset. That's kind of what I try to do too. You have a social media account, right?
Yes. So I kind of do three at the moment. So I got
Okay.
my personal Instagram.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I just be myself.
Hmm.
And then I also do the, promotion and marketing for RK Warriors. So I
Hmm.
do that. And then I'm also recently starting the Death Bat Recordings Instagram page.
Okay, so with Deathbed Recordings, talk a little bit more about that. What is that?
Death Bat Recordings is something that I started probably about a year ago. It started more of just like a little thing that you do when you upload music. It's like there's this little tagline. It's like what you wanted to like distribute by. It's just
Yeah,
this little thing.
yeah.
I want something that just like looks more official in a sense
Hmm.
off the top of my head. And then it was just like Death Bat Recordings. And then it kind of just started from there. And then I was just like, where can I take this really? Like, so I started thinking of ways to like mostly just make it more about like local music in that area. I was just like, if other artists want to be a part of it, that's great. Would I like it to go into something else, like a major label in a sense? Yeah, that would probably be the dream or goal. I'm very inspired by Jack White from like the White Stripes.
Okay.
He has a thing called, I believe, Third Man Records, where it's basically prints vinyl at his like own warehouse type of sense.
Oh, okay.
And like he has like his own like store to basically where a band or artist could come in, record it, they could have it mixed, mastered, and then they could print it all in house and then have the recordings that way. So I think ideally that would be what I want to do.
Wow, I like that. Have you started doing have you started creating a LLC?
No, that's
Not
very
yet?
far from it.
Okay. Still in the beginning stages. As far as what I'm concerned is, that protects you from lawsuits, and then from also helps with taxes too. So every time you make a profit, with your shows, I'm assuming, and going forward, and then selling your music and whatnot, and however you go about that, I don't know too much about a
Yeah.
record studio. But
Yeah, especially I don't know if artists, I don't think I've had that much to where they want to tax it. So
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
it's still very new to me.
Okay, yeah, no. Deathbat Records. What's the story behind Deathbat?
It kind of just like started out mostly because at the time I was with the duo RK Warriors. It was a duo.
Okay.
But through that, it was just like personal stuff got in the way. It was just getting to the point where the music really wasn't working anymore, and it was
Mm,
just like becoming a lot of things behind the scenes.
mm,
But it just got to a point where we just kind of parted ways. We left on good terms, very just like respectful. It was
mhm.
just like we were upfront. I was very upfront with whoever was following us at that time. I did like a statement, and I was just like, yeah, so and so is no longer with us, but we're still continuing on. But we wish them the best. So I still stand by that. There's really no bad blood there. So from that, because we originally had some sort of idea like that too with Deathbat, it was originally called Warrior Sound Records.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was under the other person, the duo. He kind of managed that. He did his own thing with that. Recently, to my knowledge, I think he changed it. I don't know to what. It's
Mhm.
some form of change. But through that, I was just like, well, I kind of have to do my own thing now. Rebrand basically and
Yeah,
kind of just
yeah.
like circle around. Okay, so what is this going to look like going forward? So that's how Deathbat kind of merged, messing around through my editing app, really, with graphics and stuff like that. And I just like kind of took this little thing of a bat, and then I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I kind of just formed it. And it originally was just like Bat Records, but I was like, that's too basic. I was just like, I want something scarier in a sense where people kind of grasp their attention. They're like, what's this? And so
Yeah.
that's where the death came in.
I mean, I was looking at it, I was like, that sounds pretty hardcore. That sounds like very metal. I like that. It's cool. It's a cool name.
Yeah,
It's a cool
thank
name.
you.
Going back to LLC, create an LLC, and that entity, that name becomes yours. Okay. That means no one else can steal that. All right.
All right.
That belongs to you. You bought it, you purchased it, whether that be in here in New Mexico or on the Arizona side.
Okay.
As you're moving forward,
Yeah.
as you're progressing into this journey as both a record and a musician.
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep that in mind moving
Yeah.
forward.
Your social media account, does that play a factor in the influence of music that you make?
I like finding new music, especially I think the best media platform for me has always been TikTok.
Mm,
I'm always finding new artists and new bands. Like I'm always downloading music, listening to that. I'm just finding like newer music and stuff, which is great. But when it comes to me and the music I market, I really don't try to follow like trends, like because I see
mhm.
some artists that really just do the trend format.
Yeah.
I couldn't really do that because I feel like it's more of boxing somebody in
Okay.
to like a certain sound or vibe or aesthetics. So I try to like, if I like something, I try to like, okay, that's nice, but it has to be something that works for me.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to social media, it's very just like anything's possible.
Hmm.
So like, if I make something in that format or trend, like it probably won't even do nothing, or it might do something. But if I just make what I make and I'm proud of it, like I just throw it out there.
I totally get that. I totally get that. That's how I've always been about my life. I don't like being put in a box, being labeled in one way when I'm like, okay, you know what? I am that, but I'm also this, but I'm also that. And
Yes.
that's kind of what the core uh, message is to Whatislife.blog. It's connecting the intricate moments of humanity, which thus exposes the beauty of us. meaning that humans are intricate. They're complex. They're complicated. We're not one dimensional. We're not one side. There's so many layers. There's so many dualities to who we are as individuals. And then if you want to get philosophical, the realities and perceptions of how we view each other, both within our minds and each other's minds, right? There's just vast reflections to who we are within each other's realities. And I think that's what makes humans absolutely so beautiful, because we're complicated. We're messy.
Yeah.
We're not perfect, right? We may have perfect moments. We may have great moments, but that's not all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I like to view Whatislife.blog. But obviously, from a business perspective and moving forward, you want to have a little bit of structure,
Yeah.
because it just helps people to navigate it a little better, to kind of make a little bit more reason to why you're doing what you're doing. And that's why when I sent you my company description and mission statement, that helps navigate to Whatislife.blog in the trajectory that what I'm focusing on. But going back to social media, have you seen a correlation between the posts that you post onto, like, let's say TikTok or Instagram or on YouTube? Have you seen a more of a social awareness with your music and your brand?
Yes and no. It's more of just like people liking or maybe even reposting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to say if you could get that social media audience to actually be invested enough to come to a show.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just where it comes to the point of just making stuff your own originally.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just do something that's kind of unique to me, what I
Mm-hmm.
like. So in a sense of just like I try not to do marketing tactics. I feel like it kind of annoys me to a sense. Like if I see a certain artist, they'll
Yeah.
tease a song on, especially like on TikTok or
Oh
Instagram,
yeah, yeah.
and then they're like, "Well, you blow this up, maybe I'll release it," or they'll just
Oh
keep
yeah,
dragging it
yeah,
out
yeah.
to the point where it's just okay. I'm getting tired of waiting around, and then when the song actually comes out, sometimes it's worth waiting, and then sometimes you're just like, "Did I just wait all that time to hear this?" So it's kind of like set up for I would say either like a good impressed or I'm just like disappointed.
I think it kind of comes down to, like, what are you really? Are you a musician or are you a content creator? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I feel like a lot of those lines have been blurred just because
mm,
how music and social media kind of just go hand in hand at this point,
yeah,
which
yeah.
could be good and bad depending
Hmm.
how you look at it. Like some instance where it could just be someone just making good art and music, and then they actually get the platform to show it to more people, which I think is great. And then you also get the other side of it where it's just people make art just to profit in a sense
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
just like always focus about money,
yeah.
numbers, and stuff like
Ooh,
that.
yeah, yeah,
So it kind of, you got to find a balance really.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Social media is such a unique tool. It really changes everything. It changes a lot. Changes a lot of things. All right. Your audience. Um, does that play a factor in the type of music you play?
Yes. I try to keep the audience in mind when I'm making a song, but I try not to let it dictate on how I make a song in a sense. So like I won't go in and be like, well, this audience, they didn't feel too receptive to this certain song. So let me make something that caters more to that audience.
Mm,
So I feel like that also, if you let that control yourself, like you'll box yourself in.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then I have that fear of like if I let an audience dictate like a type of song I make, like the moment I do a show with that certain song of mine, they might not be completely into that song. They might just
Okay.
like look at you. So I try not to, but I do pay attention to the audience. Especially when I made music. I would just like think to myself, I'm like, well, this song could go pretty hard if I
Hmm.
do it
Hmm.
live. So I try to keep little elements of the audience, but also you just got to make it personal to you.
But when you make a song, when you make a music, and let's say it goes viral, right? Let's say it goes big, and you got hundreds, thousands of people just listening to it daily. Do you ever consider the impact that that could have on culture, and then that could have impact on society and people in general?
Yes. Those thoughts do come to your mind, especially when you get excited to drop a new song or project. you're like, well, if it does go viral or anything, for me personally, I try not to think about it. When I upload something, I'm like, let's just see what happens. Because most importantly is when it comes to music, is just like as long as you're cool with it and you did the best that you could do in that moment,
Hmm.
I think that's really all you could do.
Yeah.
But if it ever went viral, I guess I would have to be at that point to like see the type of impact. I would like to make a positive impact if I could. Definitely bring people together in a sense when it comes to like live shows. But I really can't answer that till one of my songs goes viral. So it's like one of those things.
But the other thing regarding audience, your viewers, and this is kind of something that I've been kind of been struggling with and dealing with too with the podcast, is who is your audience and who are you making your content for? Because for the most part, most of my guests so far have been native, Navajo or native here in the Gallup local area. And one angle, it's like, yes, I want to reach out to my community members. I want to reach out to people here in this area to kind of say, hey, there's a concept of a podcast. There's a concept of utilizing it and creating but making it into like a sort of a business format. That's the kind of exposure that I want to do. But at the same time, it's like, how am I also reaching out to the larger audience, to the larger population, the non-native community? Would the content that I make, would that resonate to those outer communities, or would it only just relate to the native community? Do you ever have that kind of thoughts?
Yes and no. Especially coming from someone who is part native. So
Hmm.
you kind of have certain expectations, especially when you use the terms like indigenous
Mm,
rapper, indigenous
yeah,
artist,
yeah.
native. There's some sort of like pressure, or it kind of has a notion in people's minds what that looks
Hmm.
like.
Hmm.
So sometimes it's a good perception, sometimes it's not the best perception when you
Hmm.
tell people that. It just depends who you really tell. Like if you just said, "Hey, I'm a rapper, I do hip hop," like some will be like, "That's cool," and then there's some where they just kind of give you that look, like, "What's he talking about?" So definitely, you always want to cater to your community and audience.
Hmm.
I'm very open to do more local stuff, especially if there's any form of help that I can contribute and through music or anything really. I'm mostly there to help. But when it comes to like larger audience, I can't. All you could really do as an artist is just tell your experience how you see it.
Mm.
So like I can only tell you my experience and I can only tell what I think about this thing called life.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
it's more of just like I create like a world or sense and they're kind of just like a window to look at.
Mm.
That's how I perceive it.
Going back to the community too, here we have a lot of I would say country music, listeners and so forth. And then I guess rock is pretty good too, big here too. And you said you're more in the hip hop genre.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the waves of people, how they navigate music here in the local area?
Yeah, especially in this local area, especially where I've been, they're very receptive to any types of music, really.
Hmm.
Like I've done lineups with metal bands, I've done lineups with country bands. Like it's kind of just like very mixed. Like
Yeah.
it's more of just like they're here for a good time. There's
Hmm.
really no like genre. Just like this is one genre night, we're gonna stick to it because there's been multiple nights, especially open mics or just certain lineups in general, where it'll be like three or four hip hop artists, and then the next three people up is just like full on like metal. So you're just your crowds are always diverse.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I could channel something, especially in the music, I love the energy of just like metal, just like punk, really. I try to
Hmm.
channel that into the music because that's pretty much like your main job when you're on stage is just like keep the audience engaged. You want to give them the best show possible.
But do you identify yourself as an indigenous musician, indigenous rapper, or?
Yeah, I would categorize it as like indigenous musician, artist, rapper, really. I
Mhm.
just if you prefer to call me that, that's totally fine with me. I'm not like you have to call me this. This is the only thing I am in.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty much open to things really. Like I don't really have a fixation, but I will say like if you do the term native rapper indigenous, like I said, it does come with the responsibility
Oh,
of like
yeah.
representing us well.
Exactly,
Like you
exactly.
just don't want to be that person that says they're native and then you're just like, that's not what we're about, you know? Because
Exactly,
there's been
exactly.
some instances of that.
Yeah, where you just wear put on all the turquoise and everything, you just feel
Yes, I've
like,
very seen
and
that.
then they never do anything with the community at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, no hate, but especially when it comes to native or indigenous rappers, like
Mm,
you see some of that where it's
yeah.
just like very just on the nose, just very just all get
Yeah,
out.
yeah, and they, don't really go on the res or anything like that,
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's pretty much their whole music is catered around. That's all the
Mhm.
lyrics,
Oh.
which is great. Do you? But like majority of the time, it's not really. A lot of people don't really mess with that type of music. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just my experience.
So you say you identify as indigenous, and you're from the Gallup area. Now, Gallup area has a good multiple population of different native groups. What is your tribe? And
I'm Navajo,
you're
so
Navajo. Okay,
yes.
okay. Do you know your clans?
I wish I could say them off the top of my head, like head really.
Yeah.
I know there's probably people listening to this that are very just like very disappointed in me right
Oh,
now.
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but
And that's what's the interesting thing about being native or indigenous in today's culture, because we come from a long historical uh, you know battle in a way, and a conflict of like just trying to reclaim our identity, trying to reclaim our language and who we are, historically. Like you have a good bunch of natives that don't know their own language. I don't really know much of my own language. I can say a few phrases, but I can't speak it as much. I could probably read Navajo, but I wouldn't know what I'm saying. My sister, on the other hand, she can understand Navajo. Like, if someone's talking to her in Navajo, she would understand it, but she wouldn't know how to say it.
okay.
Yeah, she was really really close to my grandmother, and yeah, so my grandmother spoke Navajo, like only Navajo. Maybe one or two English words, but mostly Navajo.
Yeah, that's how my great grandmother was on my
Really?
mom's side. Just that's all she spoke was Navajo.
Oh wow, she from Gallup area too, or
Yes, I'm native on my mom's side, so she's
okay,
full native. So her parents, so on her dad's side, they're all from the Gallup area,
okay.
and then on her mom's side, they all come from a Hard Rock area.
Oh, Hard Rock.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Oh,
so I have
nice.
family out in Hard Rock.
You go to Hard Rock a lot or no?
Not really.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of it through the years, a lot of
Hmm.
the families either passed or
Oh,
just like
yeah.
moved out into the city.
Yeah.
So, I haven't been out there recently, but from what I hear, it seems a lot smaller and more
Hmm.
community based, just because how it is.
Cool. Yeah. No, my great grandmother, she's from Saley area,
Okay.
and it's a nice place. I love it. But my family hardly goes out there as much as we want to sometimes. But it's just, yeah, it's tough. It's tough just trying to, because families change. Families move on, and it's just kind of find a good relation to going back to those familiar settings.
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay. Do you think being Navajo, does that influence the type of music that you make?
I would probably say, probably not really in a
Okay.
sense,
Oh,
just because I didn't really grow up around a lot of like,
mm.
traditional music in a
Yeah, yeah.
sense. So I didn't really have that like influence when it came to making music. But is there certain elements maybe down the road that I would like to
Yeah.
do? But yeah, I would definitely try to do that maybe in future projects. But I would
Mhm.
definitely want to immerse myself better and get more knowledgeable on certain
Mhm.
things because just because how I was growing up, it was just like very just like mixed
Yeah, yeah.
ideologies. And it just like it created something, especially if someone who's like part native, like it's
Mhm.
a very I wouldn't say complicated route, but it's definitely not the easiest to navigate through.
Okay.
Like trying to find your identity, what
Yeah.
what belongs to you, what kind of culture,
uh
significance, stuff like that.
Do you think that was more of an issue, I would say, being in Gallup area, or as opposed to like the Navajo like reservation?
It really honestly just depends on the individual because there's
Okay.
some people who find out, some natives that find out you're native, like they welcome you with open
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah.
And then you got some that kind of just look at you a little somehow and be like, you don't know, you don't speak Navajo,
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. You
Yeah.
don't know clans. Like
Hmm.
they're very strict and very guarded when it comes to that.
Oh yeah.
So I honestly, it really just depends on the
Hmm.
individual, because there's great experiences where they just open you and welcome arms, and then there's some
Hmm.
instances where they're just like, you don't look like us type of thing. So it's very
Yeah.
individual.
Yeah.
Like I
No, I
can't
get
just
that.
paint with a broad brush and be like this side, this side. No, it's really
Mhm.
up to the individual.
I remember I was a server at a restaurant in Window Rock, and the not all, but a good majority of elders would get mad at me because I didn't speak Navajo. All right, they would just look at me weird, like, and it's like, oh, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know Navajo, I'm sorry, and they get mad at me in Navajo or something like that. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's definitely, especially when it happens to you in that moment, I could bet, because it's definitely happened to me where you just feel like just like put down in a sense.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I've, especially growing up and maturing, you kind of realize where they're coming from too.
Yeah,
Is like
yeah.
they want that language to carry on.
Exactly, exactly. And there's importance and there's value in the language. And that's kind of one of my goal too, is to really pick up on that. I have the Navajo textbook and the Navajo work textbook. I sometimes go back to that and just like, what was that word again? How do you say that again?
Yeah.
Talk to my mom or talk to my uncles, be like, hey, what is this word in Navajo is? And then they'll tell me that, like, oh, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, no, definitely for me, that would probably be one of my life goals, is to
Hmm.
actually learn the language and get really in depth with it.
Yeah, yeah. One of my dreams, I guess, would be, I guess not for me, just for the people, would be to hear a song, a relevant, like whether it's hip hop, whether it's rap, whether it's rock, just pure spoken in Navajo, like and not just like like you're reading it off on a text kind of thing. Like you can actually sense the emotion. You can actually feel the emotion, feel uh, the, uh, uh, the soul within those words. Because like I mean, yeah, you'll hear songs and people do like a voiceover of a text in Navajo, and be like, okay, that's good, I love that, but let's go deeper, let's go further.
Yeah,
I want to know more. Like I want to hear an actual song that's just like you feel the emotions of
yeah,
the words. But I've yet to fully, experience that or hear that just yet. But I'm sure one of these days we'll get there.
yeah, definitely.
We'll get there.
It's a progress, but it's
Yeah.
coming along.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Maybe you. Maybe you one day.
Yeah, maybe we'll
Maybe
see.
it'll be
We'll
you.
see. We'll see.
Uh, all right, cool. So you've said you've done 10 shows. Do you have any other shows lined up in the future as of right now?
I wouldn't say no, like I previous said. It kind of just comes with the territory, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm really not like, this is what my year looks like.
Mhm.
This is
Okay.
the type of shows. Like sometimes it'll just be a random phone call or a
Yeah.
text,
Yeah.
be like, hey, someone like bailed out, do we got an
Yeah.
open slot?
Hmm.
Sometimes you got like a week to prepare, or maybe even just
Oh
like
yeah.
down to
Yeah.
like 3 days. I would say not at the moment, but that could always change.
Well, you found my podcast on what, Instagram?
Yes, it was through Instagram. I was just scrolling through reels, and then I was just like, okay, this is interesting. What's this podcast about?
That's
And then
wild.
I just clicked on it, and then that's how we were able to get connected.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm always curious on how that all works out. Okay. Do you see yourself growing within your own team moving forward? Because I know you said you had a band member with you. Do you see yourself adding another person onto your team?
Yes, ideally, I would love to have like a bigger band with me, like more of a backup band.
Yeah.
Just for live shows, especially in recordings, I would love to have more input when it comes to recording, like
Okay.
different styles. Ideally down the road, because if I had to get down to my dream vision, I definitely see this thing going into like arenas. That's the
Oh.
goal. That's the goal. That's the goal when it comes to that. So having that
Wow.
big band to like really lift the sound of the place.
Just a dark arena with everyone with the flashlights, you know.
Yes, definitely that type of thing. That's the dream.
That's
And
the
if
dream.
any musician tells you that's not the dream, they're lying to you because that's the dream everybody has.
All right, all
You
right.
know, so
Okay.
that's I would love to have a bigger band, but
Mhm.
I'm not necessarily looking for it. Like I'm just
Okay.
kind of just waiting to see what happens.
Yeah,
Because when it
yeah.
comes to music, it just has to be the right person.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Because when it comes to music too, it's just like everyone has their own direction or dreams, or maybe
Mhm.
some thought it was more of like a part-time gig,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then they're
yeah.
not really serious about taking it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then also when it comes to just like the vision creatively, I'm very controlling.
Ah.
I admit that up front. Like if
Yeah.
I see it a certain way, it has to be done that way. I'm very
Okay.
just like very like has to stay true to it.
Mhm.
So sometimes that's probably not the easiest
Yeah, yeah.
working style to work with when someone's just like, this is my vision or the highway. So
Well, I mean, if your music is starting to get traction and you know people are liking it, then I think yeah, there you have something going on. You have something that's making headway, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
but I do work with DJ, especially with live shows. We've done a
Mhm.
couple. His name is Gregory. He's with Duncan Entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does a lot of like DJ gigs. He's really just mostly became like an honorary member when it comes to live shows. Like he handles all the sounds and
Yeah.
mixings.
Yeah.
So definitely having that outlet definitely helps out, especially with live shows. Like he's never turned me down once. He's always up for a live show,
Yeah.
and then we try to give it our all.
Okay. What so again, you've talked about the concept of being indigenous and the concept of being rap and then kind of like a little bit of like 80s kind of influence and then also a little bit of rock and what's the word again?
Synthesizers.
Synthesizers
Yes.
and it's really good music. What is your brand? What are you trying to ultimately put out or does that not matter?
Definitely when it comes to branding or marketing, you want to set yourself apart from any other,
Hmm.
especially when you're growing. So I would say I'm influenced by a few things. I do pay attention when I'm following like famous musicians or something that I aspire to be. I definitely look up videos,
Yeah.
promo, kind of get little ideas here and there.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, I like how they did that. How can I make it my own?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Especially, I think that's one instance why I wear mask a lot, especially
Yeah,
during
yeah.
live shows, is just because a lot of like my heroes in music really just like wore mask, and I was just always influenced by that.
Is that a Slipknot thing or Slipknot?
Definitely Slipknot. But when it came to hip hop, mostly it was MF Doom for me.
Oh,
Just
okay,
like
okay.
seeing that face, very distinct, very
Yeah,
iconic. You just
yeah.
kind of gravitated towards that. So he was definitely a big influence on me, especially when you're slowly getting into hip hop.
Mhm.
That was very like my go-to. So I was definitely influenced by that. And then I don't know if you've heard of the other band, their metal band, Ghost.
Ghosts. No, no,
Okay.
no.
So that band goes, definitely that one has had the biggest like inspiration and impact on me, especially the lead person over that project, Tobias Forge. He kind of just does all the production himself, and then he has the backup band. So that's kind of very, very where I'm at right now.
Okay,
And
okay.
then definitely another band that kind of brought me and my brother back into the music that really kind of just made it possible was this two-man group, 21 Pilots.
Okay. That sounds
With
familiar.
yeah,
Okay.
they've done a lot of big things. But that found that band very early on in their career, and it was just two guys, and they also wore masks too in their live shows. So it kind of just always planted that seed in my head. I'm like, if you want people to like notice you on live shows, just try to do something that kind of gets their attention.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is there I know some of the Instagram posts that I saw, you had like a
Yeah,
tiger
so
mask,
very
like a
tiger
yeah.
mask, and then there's like, let's see, there's one, two, there's three. I very, especially recently, with the shows, I've kind of just put myself into either two masks because it was becoming more of a hassle, like during changes
Yeah.
where you're just like, okay, I got to change into this mask. And then certain mask was preventing me with the microphone to sound better. It was like kind of muffling my voice.
Yeah.
So I kind of just simplified it a little bit better. But I'm
Okay.
always looking around, getting ideas for different masks.
Okay. I'm looking at you right now. You got like an all black setup, right? You got like
Yes.
metal chains. You got your nails painted black. You
Yeah.
got your rings and everything. Is that also part of the brand that you're kind of putting out as well?
Yes and no. I think this is just me in general. This is just me, what I'll be wearing like in public.
No, I like it, dude. I
Oh,
like it.
thank you.
Yeah, where'd you get your shirt at, actually, man?
Shoot, I've had this for years.
Really? I like it. I
thank
like
you.
it. Nice. Yeah, I like wearing black, but I'm also like not like wearing black all the time, but it's a little bit of a mix.
Yeah, no. I just kind of just got accustomed to that one color. That's pretty much all I wear at this point.
Nice. Um, okay. Uh, I think that might be it, dude. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Like,
Um, just really just like what I would say is just like this is a great format, especially podcasting.
okay.
You could really connect better and get
Yeah.
more of a vision, especially when you're like interviewing like guests. So I feel like it kind of opens the door.
Right. That's that's the main thing. And when again with the mission statement, it's connecting the intricate moments of humanity, which exposes the beauty of us, right? It's the concept that all humans contain a story, and that's worth sharing. And I was I was really happy for you reaching out. I was like, okay, cool. This is someone that has a story. This is someone that has, a background in music, and he wants to do something with exposure through podcasting, and hopefully that, picks up picks up maybe followers, and that's the whole concept of Whatislife.blog is just opportunity exposure. And that's kind of what I'm doing. That's the trajectory of where I want to go, right? So I would love to collaborate more with you and see what we can do. I think there's open possibilities, moving forward.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm always open to opportunities. I'm like, I'm here.
Yeah. We all have dreams. We all have goals. We all have passion. We all start from somewhere, and we all are on this journey, with different paths, intermingling and whatnot, but we're all on the same journey and trying to find out what it means to live, what it means to exist. It's the whole statement. What is life? Which is also a question. What is life? What is this reality concept that we're doing? Why are we here? Why are we doing anything, right?
I'm still asking those questions myself. Very, very much so.
Yeah. And that's one of the things why I like having guests, because I'm like, okay, maybe they have a little piece of the puzzle. And if we have a bunch of guests, and we all put it together, we might have a little something and make sense of what this life is all about, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, dude, Dylan, RK Warriors, it was a pleasure having you on
thank
here.
you. Thank you for having me.
All right, cool.
Living in my head, living in my head, living in my head, what's gone this wrong? Oh yeah, my past ain't keeping me from my best, cause the less that I'm back now, I just need less than the most. It comes in the threes, powers comes in the threes, and all on the mic, and I'm yelling out, what's my name now? RK here to stay, is that really what y'all want? Anymore, out of my way. Anymore, out of my way. Living in my head, does it even get better this from here? Living in my head, my past ain't keeping me from my best.
The core focus for Whatislife.blog, the podcast series, is to connect the intricate moments of humanity, which thus exposes the beauty of us. We believe that all humans contain a story, and that alone is worth sharing.